Welcome to another Tableau how-to video. This one is going to be a little bit different. It's not so much a how-to as a what is. And this is when we're talking about data joining. So I've taken the liberty of already joining to my data source, and the tables we're going to focus on here are PO details and PO header. Now these are both in Excel files, but you could have different systems. I wanted to show you the details behind the tables. The PO header has just got the PO number, the vendor name, and the country. The PO details has the PO number, item, quantity, price, and total dollar amount. And the field that we're going to key off of is the PO number. I just wanted to point out that these are numbers 1 through 12, and the ones that are international suppliers have the suffix INT. Now you may have something else with your systems. Now although we're looking at POs, purchase orders, this could be other documents or other files that you have. Maybe a little bit later we'll show something with employees. And then the POs, you've got multiple PO items for one PO. Okay. So we're going to bring over the PO header. That works great. We're going to bring over the PO details. Okay, it's just saying we need to identify what's going on here. So I'm going to pull down the PO number, and I'm going to pull over PO details. And there's 4 different options here. This is where we have just the ones that are just where they match. I was not liking that. And the reason it's not liking that is because look here, the PO for the PO details is a number, and the PO from the PO header is counted as a string. So we need to have the same data type. So we'll just change this to string as well, because you're not going to be performing any calculations on the PO such as subtracting one PO from another, or multiplying it, or plotting the PO number as a number. So now you can see that we're looking for all the items where they're both linked. So as you scroll down here, 3, 4, 5, we're missing a couple. Now the ones we're missing, if you remember, those are the ones that have the INT. Okay? So we want to pull over all the ones from the PO header, and then anything that matches that. You can see here, here's the PO header, here's a couple that we've got, but there's nothing on the detail side, so it's null. And then the opposite is true as of the right hand. We'll be looking for everything that's on the PO details, but it's not on the PO header. And then you'll see here that should be 7. There's nothing because it doesn't match. The full outer is going to have both items. So it's going to have both the ones that in the PO details, because those are international, they have the INT suffix, they don't match. If you come down here, they have the INT, but they don't have anything in the details. Well, you look at this and you know right away that there is a match. It's just that it has a suffix. So how do we fix that? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go over to the header, and there's this option down here is to create a join calculation. And so what we're going to do is create a join calculation, and we're going to say we want the left. And here's the formula, left, what field, and how many characters. We want the left 4 characters. Okay. You also can do right. If you were going to pull, if you had a prefix, you can also do in the middle, where if you wanted to pull the middle 5 characters that match somewhere. And so this isn't creating a field, it's just creating it for this join, right? So we're saying Now the important part of this is it has to be consistent. If you have a PO that may have 4 characters, may have 5 characters, may have 2 characters, and the suffix is changing or the prefix is always changing, that's a little more complicated. It's going to be a little more difficult. Okay, so now you see that 007 is the same as 007 INT. Now you'll have all your data. And then you can come back over here to the left and pull all the PO details. And there you can see. Whereas before we would have null on the details section, you've got them lined up like you'd expect. So a couple key things there. Make sure that they're the same data type, and then make sure that it's consistent, that you're actually able to pull the same consistent characters, and you can match that up. One last thing to remember is now that you've got your data linked, let's come over to the sheet and I'll demonstrate this real quick. We're going to select the vendor. I'm going to bring that over. We want the total dollars, so we're going to bring that over, drop that. And now let's say we're going to pull in, we want to know what POs for each supplier. Now it's really important that we know which POs we want to show. Do we want to show it as an INT, or would we rather show it as just the 1, 2, 3, 4 and on? So that's just the real key, is that the data is going to still remain the same that it was in the systems, because the data field hasn't changed. It's just how it's being linked. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're pulling the data over, is how do you want it to be displayed. There you go.